And now, the Plasterers and Cement Masons Local 692 scoreboard update.
What's up, Lakeshore Game Night? Steve Schmidt here. We have just about all of our games here in the region have gone final. We still got a couple that we're waiting on, but let's see what's going on here tonight in week 3 of the high school football season. Starting off with the Duneland, the Sacred Dunes game of the week, Maryville at Crown Point. This one was all Crown Point, 39-6. They are a winner. Larry Ellison, 4 touchdowns tonight for the Bulldogs. Portage at Lake Central. Last update was a third quarter score, and it was Lake Central up 21-20. Valpo at LaPorte. Valpo improves to 2-1 on the season, taking down the Slicers 49-0. Chesterton at Michigan City. This one is in the fourth quarter. Michigan City has a 28-6 lead. Tyler Bush has 3 touchdown passes tonight, and the lone score for Chesterton was a 13-yard touchdown pass from Brady McCormick to Garrett Lewis. Let's move on now to the Northwest Crossroads Conference, as they also began their conference schedule tonight with the beef of the week. Hanover Central at Highland. And early on, it was a back-and-forth game, and then since the second quarter, it was all Hanover early and often. They're a winner tonight, 60-13 in their inaugural game in the Northwest Crossroads Conference. Caden Verrett had 5 touchdowns on the ground for the Wildcats. Kankakee Valley at Andrean. You just heard this update before the break. Andrean's a winner over the Cougars tonight, 24-8. Lowell at New Prairie. Last update was a third quarter score, and New Prairie has a 47-6 lead over the Red Devils. Munster at Hobart. Last update was back in the third quarter, and the Brickies have a 42-14 lead over Munster. Willie Shearer, 4 touchdowns on the ground tonight for the Brickies. East Chicago Central at Calumet. This game has just gone final. Calumet is a winner tonight in this one, 52-8. Gary Robinson had 4 touchdowns tonight, and Corey Ferguson with 2. Westside at Boone Grove. Last update was in the third quarter. Actually, this is a final score, with Boone Grove taking down the Westside Cougars 52-12. Bishop Knoll at Whiting. Final score here, Whiting is victorious over Bishop Knoll 15-14. River Forest at Wheeler. River Forest is a winner tonight, 17-14 in this one. They got a score late in the fourth quarter to propel them to victory. Griffith at Hammond Central. Hammond Central is a winner tonight to improve to 3-0 on the season, 41-0 over Griffith. Morton at Elkhart. Elkhart is a winner over the Morton Governors tonight, 48-38. And judging by what I've seen on Twitter, this was a back-and-forth game. Morton had their chances, but Elkhart was just able to claw their way back into the game late. And finally, Rensselaer at Western. Western is a winner tonight, 33-20. We got about 15 more minutes left of Lakeshore Game Night. We'll come back to you after this break.
Lakeshore Public Media needs your help right now. Big or small, every contribution matters as we replace outdated equipment in our radio studio. This equipment is essential to our ability to bring you all of the programs you count on every day. Your donation today will keep public radio in Northwest Indiana strong, so please visit lakeshorepublicmedia.org/give and make your gift today.
From Muddy Waters to Toronzo Cannon and Buddy Guy to Wayne Baker Brooks, the blues lives on Lakeshore Public Media 89.1 FM every Friday night, beginning at 10 p.m. following game night. Cruise the blues with Mr. Jack. Visit all of your friends of the blues and wrap up with Blues Before Sunrise. Friday night is Blues Night here on Lakeshore Public Media 89.1 FM. Streaming online at lakeshorepublicmedia.org or on your smart speaker.
Good singers are born, but great singers are made.
He was able to get such a graduate education in just watching the greats. I mean, he grew up going to the Apollo, seeing artists like Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells.
The Legend of Luther Vandross. Next time on It's Been a Minute from NPR.
Tune in Saturday evening at 6 and Sunday evening at 5 here on Lakeshore Public Media.
There are some stories we're afraid to tell. Some truths only happen after dark, and some secrets can only be shared with the fire. On the next Snap Judgment, everything's going up in flames. The Campfire Tales special, do not miss it.
Tune in Saturday morning at 11 and Sunday afternoon at noon here on Lakeshore Public Media 89.1 FM.
What if we measured the success of our economy less in terms of profit and more in terms of care.
What if we tracked gains and losses not in dollars, but in the quality of human lives? I'm Anne Strainchamps.
And I'm Ray Suarez with another episode of Going for Broke, a look at how economic hardship, trauma, and mental illness get wrapped together in a seemingly endless loop.
Next time on To the Best of Our Knowledge.
Tune in Saturday afternoon at 3 here on Lakeshore Public Media, 89.1 FM.
I'm Jesse Thorne. This week on Bullseye, I'll talk with Brenton Wood, the voice behind Gimme Little Sign, Me and You, and this song that we are hearing right now, the Oogum Boogum song. Plus, John Wilson from HBO's wonderful How To with John Wilson. That's on the next Bullseye from MaximumFun.org and NPR.
Tune in for Bullseye, Saturday evening at 5, here on Lakeshore Public Media, 89.1 FM, streaming online at lakeshorepublicmedia.org.
The Swedish band Icona Pop topped the charts with their hit, I Love It. They're 10 years older now, have a brand new album, Young Children, and a new perspective.
We changed a lot. I mean, we grew a lot as persons.
Icona Pop and their new album, Club Romantic. That, plus all the news Saturday and Weekend Edition from NPR News.
Tune in Saturday morning at 7 for Weekend Edition Saturday, here on Lakeshore Public Media, 89.1 FM. Now, back to the action here on Game Night.
All right, Ben Kolodzinski back at you, and we have reached our final stretch here with Wayne Svetanoff. I'm going to go over some of the games here that we've seen and some of the ones that we've covered here, and have a little quick thoughts, a couple 30 seconds, minute here, synopsis, and just kind of break it down what we've seen so far tonight. Our Sacred Dunes game of the week, which was Maryville at Crown Point. This one wasn't so much of a game, was it, Wayne?
No, it certainly wasn't. The surprise was the score had, Crown Point winning 39-6 over Maryville, a very good team.
These are two very good teams here, and 39-6. I was expecting a one-score game,
right?
But I'm supposedly an expert here because I have a microphone in front of me. This one caught me off guard for sure. Going from there, we have our beef of the week, which is Hanover at Highland. Kevin Driscoll had some really great updates for us tonight. Another game that was kind of a one-sided affair.
60 points Hanover put on the board against Highland, and Highland scored first.
Right.
This was a surprise to me. The scoring was.
Well, Hanover being the new kids on the block, right?
Yep, that's right.
And everyone's thinking, can they stack up to this tougher competition? Well, they made a statement saying we've arrived tonight.
Yes.
So that was very impressive by them. A game that was maybe not as much of a surprise. Valparaiso at Laporte. Valparaiso won pretty handily.
Yeah, 49-0. Valpo. This Davis kid, Travis Davis, 3 touchdowns tonight. He is a moose, and he's tough to bring down, I'll tell you.
Yeah, for sure. Valparaiso starting to hit their stride, and that's good. That's good news.
Yeah.
That's good news for the Valparaiso Vikings there. And we had Munster and Hobart. Jason Hill gave us a lot of good updates for that. Munster is struggled a little bit against the Brickies.
Yeah, Munster starts and scores 14. You think, they're right in the ball game, right. But Hobart comes back and scores 42. So,
Steve's got an update for that score.
Okay.
Yeah, that game, the Hobart and Munster game, has just gone final. Hobart's a winner, 49-21.
49-21.
Yeah, and another game that we covered here tonight, we had Gary Graben covering the Kankakee Valley at Andrean game. Andrean, they're starting to round into shape here.
Yeah, and Coach Skinner, when we talked to him on the phone, had said that, every week they try to find out their weaknesses and their strengths. Obviously, you play to your strength and you try to improve your weaknesses. And he has a young offensive line.
Sure.
And that offensive line played well in the second half tonight.
Yeah, and that's good to see if you're an Andrean fan there and an Andrean supporter. Anytime that you can get these young players kind of get that momentum behind them, get that experience, it's going to pay off in November when you're trying to march down state. We had an excellent game from Ethan Silver, who was covering River Forest at Wheeler. That game went right down to the wire.
It really did. And you got to give River Forest a lot of credit coming back and winning that one 17-14. And you got to give Wheeler. I didn't think that Wheeler would stay with them this much. And Wheeler had the game won.
They did.
And Forest came back and took it away.
I tell you what, a team to keep your eye on is Wheeler. It seems like they're really starting to round into shape here, and they're putting up a lot of fight that some people may not have seen coming from them. So I'm really impressed with Wheeler so far, even though there's been a couple losses in there. And the last game that we had coverage on, we had Griffith and Hammond Central. Tim Hogan gave us a lot of good updates with that, but it was the Hammond Central show.
Deshaun Woods, remember that name?
Yes,
now,
exactly.
Remember Jordan Woods? That was his last year.
Yeah.
He was outstanding.
Exactly.
He passed on the mantle to his younger brother, Deshaun.
Passed the torch, right?
Yeah.
Exactly right. So yeah, it was an exciting night of football action here in Northwest Indiana. There was a couple surprises here tonight. Wayne, we'll let you start off. What's a good surprise that you had?
Well, I'm going to pick one off the wall here.
Oh, yeah?
There's a lot of surprises
Sure.
tonight. But I didn't think that Lake Central would be tested this well against Portage. They won 21-20.
Yeah.
And it was at Lake Central. But with Xavier Williams, I thought Xavier would have his way with Portage. And Portage hung with the Indians.
Portage is pretty tough. They've been playing tough so far this year, and it's only going to be a matter of time. They made some mistakes. They've lost some games at the very end.
Yep.
It's going to be very interesting to see Portage grow with their new coaching staff. They're very well coached, and I'm really impressed with how Portage is going to go. But, anytime that Lake Central with Xavier, they have a Division I Iowa,
That's
running
right.
back, you would think that he'd be able to dominate, but, we didn't really cover that one as much here, so I'd be interested to see how he performed in this game.
Right.
So we're gonna go. We're gonna talk to Steve. Steve, what was your surprise of the night?
Well, my surprise of the night was the Hammond Central Wolves. We seen them turn a corner last year in their second year as a consolidated school, and obviously losing Jordan Woods last year due to graduation, that could have spelled a lot of potential problems and a lot of holes to fill for Hammond Central.
Right.
But his brother Deshaun stepping in, looks like they haven't even lost a beat, and they've possibly even taken a bigger leap this year than I think any of us have expected. I mean, I expected them to come into this game and handle Griffith, I'll be honest, but I didn't think they would necessarily go out there and win 41-0.
Sure, exactly. So
Do you know exactly, was it Woods, did he score 4 TDs tonight?
I don't have that kind of information. I was just relying on Tim's updates when he called in tonight.
Okay.
yeah, well, I think the bottom line is though we heard the name Woods just about
quite a
every
bit.
single
That's
update.
right. That's
So
right.
that's obviously a very impressive performance there.
Right.
So Andrew, man in the switchboard today, who was your surprise, or what was your surprise of the night?
I'm going to just go with Maryville, just not putting up a good offensive performance tonight. And the Crown Point defense, big tip of the cap to them, shutting down one of the premier offenses year in and year out in Northwest Indiana. And also, to piggyback off of the Hammond Central conversation, during the preseason, I heard a coach's show, and the Hammond Central staff, they were really talking about Wood, and they said, yeah, he's just like his brother, and he's proving that so far this season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's showing a really good performance here. I mean, you're scoring multiple touchdowns, hundreds of yards a game. That's really impressive. So I'm looking at the group here, and not a single person is going to say the obvious surprise of the night. And I'm going to go with Hanover Central absolutely destroying a quote-unquote tougher opponent in Highland. Everyone was saying this is the year that Hanover Central is going to start struggling.
Right.
But you know what? What was the final score there, Steve?
It was 60-13.
60-13 in a league that they're supposedly outgunned in.
And Highland scored first.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So that is even more impressive. They kind of traded punches early, and then it was all Hanover Central. Hanover Central has made a statement today that they arrived.
Yeah, at the end of the first quarter in that game, guys, it was 20-13 Hanover, but the Highland had a 13-6 lead in that quarter, and Blake Vanek had 2 touchdowns early, and it looked like he was just going to keep continuing on as he was the Chuck DeMoss Player of the Week for last week's events. But it looked like he was just going to take over, but 54 unanswered points by Hanover. Oh my gosh.
That's incredible. It's incredible. And that's what you're looking for there.
They wanted to make a statement that they're here to play in the NCC,
Right.
that they can hang with the big boys. And, tonight they proved it against their old coach,
right?
Nonetheless, so kind of the mentor beating the master in week here for their first conference game.
The question now for me is what is happening at Lowell? Lowell lost to the New Prairie 47-6.
Sure, yeah.
And that's not a Lowell score.
It is not.
Lowell is able to score and play defense. Right. Now, I think they won last week, but, what is happening there? And that's be the question for next week and the week after.
Yeah, we'll have to keep our eye on that. Again, New Prairie is one of the powerhouses in northern Indiana, and it'll be very interesting to see how Lowell responds to this. And it was an hour and a half drive from Lowell, Indiana to Rolling Prairie, Indiana. It's a long drive. Maybe they got stiff. Who knows? Maybe New Prairie has recovered from their week one upset.
Right.
You never know because those are two really solid programs. New Prairie may be in a different stratosphere as Lowell is right now, but you would kind of think there'd be a little more of a fight.
Right.
But we'll have to see, and it's a long season, and the next few weeks will tell.
Right.
So going forward, I'm going to say a couple thank yous here to end the show out. I'm going to thank Purdue Federal Credit Union, the Sacred Dunes, who sponsors our game of the week. We've got Ivy Tech Community College. We've got NIPSCO, who's been a longtime supporter.
Oh, yeah.
We've got the Plasters and Cement Masons Local 692. They sponsor our scoreboard update. Our correspondents today were Ryan Welsh, Russell Broadhacker, Kevin Driscoll, Gary Graben, Jason Hill, Ethan Silver, and Tim Hogan. Our crew tonight is Will Farlow. We've got Andrew Johnson. We've got Steve Schmidt with the scoreboard updates. Wayne Svetanoff. My name is Ben Kolodzinski, and you have been listening to Game Night, presented by Purdue Federal Credit Union on Lakeshore Public Media, 89.1 FM, The Lakeshore.
And now, the Plasterers and Cement Masons Local 692 scoreboard update.
What's up, Lakeshore Game Night? Steve Schmidt here one final time for your final scores across the region tonight. The Duneland and the Northwest Crossroads began their conference schedules tonight. The games did not disappoint, so let's check out how your team or even your rival did tonight here in week 3 of the high school football season. Starting off with the Duneland and the Sacred Dunes game of the week, it was all Crown Point over Maryville tonight, 39-6. Larry Ellison, 4 touchdowns tonight for the Bulldogs. Portage at Lake Central. Lake Central is a winner tonight over Portage, 21-20. Valpo on the road tonight at LaPorte, and it was all Vikings tonight, 49-0. They are 2-1 on the season. Chesterton at Michigan City. Michigan City is a winner tonight over Chesterton, 28-6. Tyler Bush, 3 touchdowns. Northwest Crossroads play here Hanover Central and Highland in the beef of the week. It was all Hanover Central tonight from the second quarter on, defeating Highland in their first NCC game of the season, 60-13. Caden Verrett, 5 touchdowns. Kankakee Valley at Andrean. Andrean's a winner tonight, 24-8 over the Cougars. Lowell at New Prairie. Last update was in the third quarter with New Prairie up 47-6. Hobart takes down Munster tonight at home, 49-21 behind Willie Shears, 4 touchdowns on the ground. EC Central at Calumet. It was all Calumet tonight, 52-8. Gary Robinson had 4 touchdowns and Corey Ferguson with 2 himself. West Side at Boone Grove. Boone Grove was a winner tonight, 52-12 over the West Side Cougars. Bishop Knoll at Whiting. This one was a defensive battle back and forth, and Whiting comes out on top, 15-14. River Forest at Wheeler. River Forest is a winner tonight, 17-14 over the Bearcats. Chris Witt had a 23-yard field goal in the third quarter, and the Ingots had a big score late in that one to take the win. Hammond Central takes down Griffith tonight, 41-0. Elkhart on the road, or Elkhart at home against Morton is a winner tonight, 48-38. And Western takes down Rensselaer at home, 33-20. Well, what a week of high school football it's been here in week 3. Week 4 will be here before we know it. But until then, we'll talk to you next Friday night. For Lakeshore Game Night and Lakeshore Public Media, I'm Steve Schmidt.
You're listening to Lakeshore Public Media.